Okay, my name is Janjan Olivia, and now we are going to discuss goal number 11, sustainable cities and communities. More than a half of us live in cities. By 2050, two-thirds of all humanity, 6.5 billion people, will be urban. Sustainable development cannot be achieved without significantly transforming to the way we build and manage our urban spaces. The rapid growth of cities, a result of rising population and increasing migration, has led to a boom megacities, especially in developing world, and Islam are becoming a more significant features of urban life. Making cities sustainable means creating career and business opportunities, safe and affordable housing, and building resilience, society and economies. It involves investment in public transport, creating green public spaces, and improving urban planning and management in participatory and exclusive way. Facts and figures. In 2018, 4.2 billion people, 55% of the world population live in cities. By 2050, the urban population is expected to reach 6.5 billion. Cities occupy just 3% of the earth's land but account for 60 to 80% of energy consumption and at least 70% of carbon emission. 828 million people are estimated to live in Islam, and the number is rising. In 1990, there were 10 cities and 10 million people or more. By 2014, the number of megacities rose to 28 and was expected to reach 33 by 2018. In the future, 9 out of 10 megacities will be developing world. In the coming decades, 90% of urban expansion will be in the developing world. The economic growth of cities is significant. They generate about 80% of the global GDP.
Cities are hubs for ideas, commerce, culture, science, productivity, social development, and much more. At their best, cities have enabled people to advance socially and economically. However, many challenges exist to maintain cities in a way that continues to create jobs and prosperity while not straining the land and resources. Common urban challenges include congesting, lack of funds to provide basic services, a shortage of adequate housing, and declining infrastructure. The challenges cities face can be overcome in a way that allow them to continue to thrive and grow while improving resources use and reducing pollution and poverty. The future we want includes cities of opportunities for all with access to basic services, energy, housing, transformation, and more. There is a strong link between the quality of life in cities and how cities draw on and manage the natural resources available to them. To date, the trends toward urbanization has been accompanied by increased pressure on the environment and accelerated demand for basic services, infrastructure, jobs, land, and affordable housing, particularly for the nearly 1 billion urban poor who live in informal settlement. Due to their high concentration of people, infrastructures, housing, and economic activities, cities are particularly vulnerable to climate change and natural disaster impact. Building urban resilience is crucial to avoid human, social, and economic losses, while improving the sustainability of urbanization process is needed to protect the environment and mitigate disaster risk and climate change.
Data and statistics, facts and figures. The world's cities occupy just 3% of the Earth's land, but account for 60 to 80% of energy consumption and 75% of carbon emission. Target linked to the environment. Target 11.2. By 2030, provide access to safe, adorable, accessible, and sustainable transport system for all. Improving road safety, notably by expanding public transport with special attention to the needs of those in vulnerable situations, women, children, persons with disabilities, and older persons. Target 11.3 by 2030, enhance inclusive and sustainable urbanization and capacity for participatory, integrated, and sustainable human settlement, planning and management in all countries. Target 11.4. Strengthen efforts to protect and safeguard the world's cultural and natural heritage. Target 11.5. By 2030, significantly reduce the number of deaths and the number of people affected and substantially decrease the direct economic losses related to global gross domestic product caused by disasters, including water-related disasters, with a focus on protecting the poor and people in vulnerable situations. Target 11.6. Reduce the adverse per capita environment impact of cities, including by paying special attention to air quality and municipal and other waste management. Target 11.7. Provide universal access to safe, inclusive, and accessible green and public spaces, in particular for women and children, older persons, and persons with disabilities. Target 11.8. Support positive economics, social, and environmental links between urban, per-urban, and rural areas by strengthening national and regional development planning. Target 11.B. By 2020, substantially increase the number of cities and human settlements, adopting and implementing integrated policies and plans toward inclusion, resource efficiency, mitigation, and adaptation to climate change, resilience to disaster, and develop and implement in line with the Sustaibanle framework for disaster risk reduction.
Hi, I'm Yves Vincent Birjas. I'm the next reporter. And now we are talking about the soil exploitation and overbuilding. The concrete is harmful to the land because of human activities including polluting farming practices, soil contamination, building the infrastructure, construction, farming soils are damaged in impervious. All of us can limit effects of soil exploitation. For example, by not buying a new house, thus avoiding the incentivized or urbanization of farming natural fields. restoring an already existing house according to the current regulations on our energy efficiency, has a lower environmental impact on the soil and subsoil than buying a new one. 1/3 of all food produced worldwide is wasted. A part is lost during the processing, a part is thrown away by consumers. 1.3 billion tons of edible food is wasted annually. It is necessary to adopt a sustainable lifestyle, respectful of the resources the planet gives us in order to face poverty and food insecurity. Buying the appropriate amount of food products for the family members, using leftovers to prepare new meals, choosing supermarkets that donate the food about the good, bad, or few solution of the problem. France choose to oblige supermarkets to donate food about go bad to non-profit organizations. To protect biodiversity, it is important to know that there are thousands of plant species that can cultivated in a sustainable way. Respecting biodiversity also means choosing and recognizing seasonal fruits and vegetables. That's why reading up on food properties on the way in which they were produced and making sure that they are all from a good supply chain is so important. Another is to protect the biodiversity is getting to know and support national parks and reserves. The means of transport we use in our everyday journeys are one of the major causes of air pollution and CO2 emissions. Opting for a sustainable way of moving and choosing to meet the energy demand through innovative technologies powered by clean energy is one of the first things aware people should do. Fossil fuels are things of the past. As for mobility, these polluting sources have been replaced by hybrid and the more innovative hydrogen technology. In public transports, as well as private vehicles, in the scarcity of refueling stations, prevented the spread of cars fueled with alternative sources, the development of smart grids, the network of electricity.
Making cities sustainable means creating career and business opportunities, safe and affordable housing, and building resilient societies and economies.
Urban transport systems need to become more sustainable. Sustainable urban transport can include giving priority to bicycles over cars, as done for example in Copenhagen, where a bridge exclusively for bikes has been constructed by introducing bus rapid transit or BRT, with dedicated bus routes like in Johannesburg or cable cars as part of urban public transport systems to link highly and often low-income urban communities recently like in Medellin or Caracas. Nature-based solutions work for cities too. Increasingly, nature-based solutions are considered in urban climate change, adaptation, and disaster risk reduction. An example would be New York City's green rooftops and streets that can better manage stormwater runoff and improve urban climate. China introduced the concept of sponge cities, cities with open spaces that can soak up floodwater and prevent disaster in ecologically friendly ways. Community networks can support urban disaster resilience. Impacts from disasters such as floods or storms are often worst in densely populated urban areas. While the role of proper building codes and land use planning has been recognized in reducing disaster risk for a long time, increasingly social ties and community networks are on the agenda. When developing solutions for how to support the elderly during heat waves, for example, finding help in the community is equally important to beneficial infrastructure. Smart solutions can improve urban livelihoods. For poor urban dwellers, access to even basic urban services can be a challenge if you live in an informal settlement and you do not have a proper address and a bank account. It is often difficult to sign up for basic necessities such as water and energy services. Digital technologies such as mobile money can change that. In Kenya, smart metering enables payment for utilities and transportation by means of mobile money, thereby providing more equal access. Furthermore, the mobile money services facilitate transfers between urban and rural areas and are particularly helpful for female-headed households. Cities, countries, and international bodies need to collaborate. Urban sustainable development needs to be a top priority not only in cities but beyond urban boundaries. For this purpose, Brazil enacted a city statute and implemented a Ministry of Cities in 2003 to direct urban planning and to make it more sustainable and exclusive. Countries are also coming together on an international level, for example, at the United Nations Conference on Housing and Sustainable Urban Development Habitat, in which 167 countries participated to focus on sustainable urban development and adopt the new urban agenda. While good ideas are getting implemented in different cities around the world,